Experience Cyclone Filter Cleaner, the smarter, faster way to clean your pool filter. Tired of slow and messy filter cleaning that leaves your back hurting? Cyclone Filter Cleaner changes that. Now you can clean 4 filters in 15 minutes. Designed by pool pros, its spinning action reaches deep into every pleat without you bending over. Just connect your hose, slide the filter on, and watch the magic happen. Clean smarter, faster, and easier with Cyclone Filter Cleaner.
Hey Pool Pros, tired of roasting under the sun and gear that doesn't hold up? Revved Up Apparel has your back with SPF protected apparel made for the Pool Pro. Want to stand out from the competition? Done. No minimum orders, no inventory stress. We handle the design, hosting, printing, and fulfillment, so you can focus on the grind. Whether you're a single poler or managing a whole fleet, this is how you gear up smart and stay sharp. Check out RevvedUpApparel.com. Built for the Pool Pro. Designed for the proud.
Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
This episode is brought to you by Skimmer. Trusted by over 30,000 pool service pros across North America, Skimmer software helps you save time, grow revenue, and boost your 5-star reviews. Whether you're just starting out or owning the market, Skimmer's easy-to-use tools and expert support have you covered. Upgrade your business in 2025 with Skimmer. Visit getskimmer.com/tip of the day to try Skimmer for free for 30 days.
Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, and listen to the big homie Pete the Pool Guy. Dropping game, keep it real, put the knowledge on deck. From backyard pools to collecting them checks. Ain't no gimmicks, no stress, just some free flow talk. Breaking bread, building up, gotta walk that walk. From the chlorine to the hustle, every move got a plan. If you work it the right way, you can level up, man. Pool Foo Podcast, let's ride. Game so deep, let's ride. From the valley to the masses, we know. Let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. Pool Foo Podcast, let's ride. Game so deep, let's ride. From the valley to the masses, we know. Let it flow, let it flow, let it flow.
Yo, what's up, pool fam? Welcome back to another episode where we shine the light on real ones in the pool game. Today, I got someone special in the building. He's bringing that island vibe, that hustle, and a whole lot of personality to the pool industry. Zach from Pineapple Pool Boyz. This episode is all about giving him his flowers, hearing his story, and learning how he turned a vision into a business. Let's go behind the brand and get to know the man behind the pineapple. Zach, welcome to the podcast, brother.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And,
you like that little intro?
Yeah, no, it's good, man. That's good.
All right, so let's get to know you, man. Your story. Where'd you grow up at, and what were you doing before doing pools?
I was born and raised in the city I live in now, Mesa, Arizona. It's a suburb a little east of Phoenix, a little east of ASU. But I grew up in the same house my whole life, and then after high school, left and spread my wings a little bit. I worked for my ex-girlfriend's dad right out of high school doing air conditioning for a little while. And then when that relationship ended, I no longer wanted to work with her dad, even though I'm still friends with him. He still comes and does my AC.
Nice.
But he was almost like a second dad to me. He was great. But so, it's weird after you end your high school relationship. We were together for like almost 7 years. I'm like, yeah, I got to go and do something else, man. I can't just hang out with you and your family.
It felt awkward.
I moved back to Tempe and got a townhouse with one of my oldest friends, David. I've known him since 5th grade, and he's actually one of my pool techs now.
Nice.
So he and I lived together a few times on and off throughout our 20s. But yeah, now I live like, I don't know, 15 miles east of where I grew up with my wife and our kids and running the pool company.
How long you been married?
We got married in September of 21. So
Nice. So that's what?
almost 4 years now.
That's 4 years, about 4 years. You got any kids?
We have 3. They're my stepkids, but 3 of them, 3 boys.
They're your kids. Yeah, they're your kids.
9 just turned, the other one just turned 12, and then the oldest one's 14.
Yeah, it's crazy how much life changes once you have kids, right?
Oh, it's way different, dude.
Yeah.
It's way different. We don't even have them full time, but it's way different. Yeah.
Yeah. So what got you into the pool industry?
I was working at Bank of America.
Another person from the bank. Bro, a lot of pool guys come from banking. What's up with that?
I don't know. I think so for me, I mean, I kind of fell into it. So like after I moved back to Tempe from living with my ex and her family and working for them, I found a job at Blockbuster. And
nice.
One of the girls I worked with at Blockbuster, she left and she became like a temp working for Bank of America. And so she was making more in 25 hours and I was making in like 45 or 50 hours. So I was like, yo, can you get me a job over there?
Yeah, for real.
So then I was a temp for a while. And then I started, I got converted to a full-time employee and I just would, bounce around to different departments every couple of years because that was the only way you could really get a pay raise.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just did that. And before you know it, you're like, holy shit, I've been here for 10 plus years. Like, if you would have told me in high school or at any point in my life prior to that I'd be sitting in a cubicle, I'd be like, you're nuts. It's not going to happen.
Right.
And then it happened for 13 years.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened. And then I was like isolated in my house, like not even changing out of your pajamas for 3 days in a row because you're just working on your laptop from the couch, from the desk, from the counter.
Yeah.
From your bed sometimes. And I was just like, man, there's, at the time I was 30, 32, 33. And I was like, man, there's gotta be more to life than this. Like if I'm doing this when I'm 50, like that's a miserable life, just wasting decades sitting at a computer working for a corporation that doesn't care about me at all.
You're just a number.
And during COVID is when I really started. I always kind of felt like, obviously you're a cog in a giant wheel, but I just really felt like isolated during COVID because now I wasn't even in a building with a bunch of other people. I was just sitting in the house all the time. And so I just started looking. I went on bizbuysell.com. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but you can buy and sell businesses there. And I was just looking for anything that I thought I could jump into and run with like little to no experience in whatever it was and a low startup cost. And so I started seeing a lot of pool routes for sale, but they were selling like whole companies. I was like through brokers selling like 80, 100, 150 pools. And I'm like, well, I don't want to do that because I've never even cleaned a pool professionally. I've only attempted to clean the one in my backyard. But my father-in-law is a pool guy. And I have a few friends that were pool guys that I've known since like middle school. And so I found a guy that was selling just 12 pools. He was retiring. He had been downgrading his company for a couple years, and he had just held on to the ones that were in his neighborhood. And while he was moving from being a pool guy to being a travel agent. And so when he was ready to let go of those, he was trying to sell those. So I bought those, and I would do those for a half a day a week because there's only 12 pools.
Mm-hmm.
So I would take PTO from the bank on Wednesdays, and I would go work my 12 pools. And then I did that for a few months, and then the new year started, and I had a bunch of PTO banked, but I was like, I can't do this for the whole year. Like, I'm going to run out of PTO. So I started working 4 10-hour shifts, and then I went from my 12 pools up to 20 because that was the most I could do in a day. And then I found a pool company out here that needed help, like immediately. Like, he lost his right-hand man that was doing like 100 pools a week for him. And he was like, we have this big Facebook group out here called Arizona Pool Techs, and there's probably like 3,000 or 4,000 guys on it. And so he was just on there like posting like, hey, I need help. We're in this area. I've got 60 to 100 pools that I need help with. So I reached out to him because I was like, well, I mean, I need to do this full time to figure out if I like it or if I hate it. Because I was always looking at it as like, oh, this is my day away from the computer, looking forward to it. Like, oh, I love it. I'm not stuck on the computer all day, but I've never cleaned the pools for, 5 days or 6 days a week. I need to go see if I like that. So I took an unpaid leave of absence from the bank and went and worked for him. So I was working for him 4 or 5 days a week and me 1 day a week. And I did that for 3 months. And that was in the middle of summer. That started in May. So May, June, July of the summer of 2022 was my first taste of full-time pool service. And that summer was super stormy out here. And it was like a monsoon, like twice a week. So the pools were just thrashed all the time. And
so did you start having second thoughts?
Honestly, I wasn't. Like that 90-day period, while I probably worked like 27 days in a row, took 1 day off, worked 25 days in a row, take 1 day off, like work 30 days in a row, take 1 day off. I actually liked it. Like I felt like you go complete a task and then now it's done. You can look at it and you're like, wow, I did that.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're on the computer and you're moving widgets around, you're like, what did I do today? Like, I know I did something, but like, I can't see it. Like, what did I do? And so it was nice to be able to actually see what you did and like get that immediate feedback loop for your brain.
Yeah.
And,
I know exactly what you
honestly, I was making a lot more money.
Nice.
Because, he was only paying me, he started me off at 14 a pool. And then after a month or so, it went to 15 a pool. But his routes were super tight and his pools were like mostly really easy. So I could do, with little experience, I could do 3 an hour. And so, I started making like $45 an hour. Obviously that's $10.99 and you got to pay taxes and you're paying for your own gas in your truck, but my truck was paid off and the routes were tight. So it was like maybe a gallon or two a day. So I just always had the mindset of like, okay, my first pool pays for my gas and my breakfast.
Okay.
And then finish before lunch and go home.
There you go.
And, I loved it. And then on the weekends, I was helping them get caught up with filter cleans. So at the end of that 90 days, I had a lot more experience than most people would have in 90 days. But I was like, all right, I'm not going back to the bank. Call my boss the day I was supposed to go back. And so I was playing a game there where I had to keep my health insurance.
Gotcha.
I had to wait until the day I was supposed to come back because that was the start of a new month. So if I quit then the health insurance would carry through the rest of that month. Because at that time, my wife was also changing her job. She changed companies and she was in the middle of her like 90 days before you get vested and you can get your benefits.
Yeah.
So we had to like kind of time it and play this game where when my benefits ended, hers started for us.
That's interesting. First of all, dude, working at the bank, I used to clean pools as well while I was working at the bank. And I never thought about using your PTO for that. That's actually pretty smart, dude.
It was awesome. And still to this day, I've got a few friends at the bank that are handy. And if I need help, like ripping out a sand filter or doing some chlorine baths and pressure washers or something, like I'm just trying to shove a lot into one day, I'll hit 1 or 2 of them up and I'm like, hey, do you guys want to take a sick day like next Friday and come work?
Nice. And get paid from both ends.
Yeah, I got to double dip it sometimes.
Dude, I would go to work. The bank open from 9 to 5, 9 to 6, 9 to 5. And I would take my gym bag, and in my gym bag, I would have my work clothes. So literally, as soon as I would clock out, I would go to the restroom, change, and then go hit the pools. And then I'd be done like around 8 when the sun starts going down. I was able to hit a couple pools. I was like, so Monday through Friday, that's how I worked it until I got
12-hour days.
Yeah, until I got to that spot where it was like, all right, I can't do this anymore,
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually pretty smart. I like that.
Yeah, it was so in April of that year, I had a lot of PTO, and because like that guy needed help like now.
Yeah,
like he was working 7 days a week for 12 hours, just trying to keep his pools from going green.
Dang.
And so I would use all of April. I would use like each week. I would use like 2 hours or 2 days of sick time, 1 day of vacation. But granted, I was already working 410s. So for all of April, I was like working like at the bank 1 day a week, using PTO for the rest of the week, working for myself, and then helping that guy out as much as I could. And then because it took a month for the LOA to process, because you're at the corporation, so it takes time for anything to happen. And so that was my workaround. So all of April, I was making more money than I've ever made in my entire life because I was getting all that PTO.
Yeah.
Plus, I was working like 40 plus hours doing pools. And,
Man, that's nice.
and then I started feeling like angry and resentful when I came back to the bank. I'm like, these guys got me at a discount.
You're like, man, I'm worth more money out there
I
than in here.
was worth way more money out there than I was sitting at a computer. So,
Well, let me ask you, how did you said you bought your own little route, 10, 12 pools, education wise on pool chemistry. How'd you jump on that?
so when I bought them, it was November. So my first pool service was in November. So out here, it's like a splash of liquid chlorine and a little bit of acid. And those 12 pools, there was not one spa. There was not one like automation system.
It was literally old school, just a pool.
It was just a pool and a vacuum, and a couple of them had pop-ups. But I think 9 of the 12 were vacuums and 3 were pop-ups. But they were all just like super easy pools. And I still have, I think I have 11 of the 12 still today.
Nice.
And the guy that I bought from, I quickly learned was a super old school pool guy. And so he was like, just test your chlorine and test your pH. And I'm like, what about the alkalinity? He's like,
how'd you know about alkalinity though?
It was on the test strips.
Ah, gotcha.
But he was doing,
besides, you also had your own pool, huh?
Yeah, I have my own pool.
Yeah.
But he was doing the droppers. And so he's teaching me that. And I'm like, okay, but what about the alkalinity? He's like, oh, don't worry about that. He's like, if your pH is high, your alk is high. If your pH is low, your alk is low. I'm like, well, now I know, like, well, not always. And what's your cyanuric acid doing to your alkalinity?
Mm-hmm.
Which he never mentioned one time. But so in that purchase of that route, I got all of his tools. I got his CRM. I got everything because it was the last of his business. So I got everything. And it included, I think, 40 or 80 hours of training. But it was only 12 pools. So for the first 2 weeks, I had him ride with me. Well, I actually rode with him in his truck while he trained me. But like I said, it was November. So I was like, well, there's not much to do here.
Yeah.
So I told him, I was like, well, I don't need you to ride with me anymore for service. I'm just going to keep you like on the hook for when I run into issues. Like
questions,
drains, filter cleans, stuff I haven't done before. And so I used him for, like, he came out to my first drain. He came out on my first day of filter cleans. He's a nice guy. I quickly learned that the way he did things wasn't the way that I wanted to do things. But funny enough, so I grew up playing ice hockey, and one of my old coaches sponsors.
Wait, in Arizona?
Yeah. Both my parents are from Philadelphia, so
gotcha.
I grew up a hockey fan. So I started playing. I was skating when I was like 3 or 4.
Nice.
But one of my coaches growing up, he sponsors a men's league team because he wants to play. And so we had a goalie sub one week, and he was a pool guy. And I started talking to him about pools because I don't know anything at this point. Like, I know very little. And then that's when he tells me about that Facebook group, Arizona Pool Techs. So that's when I get on the Facebook group. And that thing is like, it's like high school. Like, there's so much shit talking and just, there's a lot of nonsense on there, but there's a lot of really good info on there. And there's a lot of really good people on there. So I was just figuring out who the really good guys were, who I wanted to learn from, who I wanted to pick their brain and learn their best practices. And so the other thing was when I was working from home, when I was kind of straddling that line, was there's a pool guy out here in Phoenix, and he has a YouTube page. It's literally called Pool School.
Nice.
And his videos are geared toward like homeowners taking care of their own pools. So I would literally watch, and he has hundreds of videos, everything from like how to backwash a pool to how to change out O-rings to how to do chemistry to like all sorts of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just watch his videos when I was working for like 8 hours a day. And that's where I learned a lot of stuff. So yeah, I found the Facebook group and I started finding some guys, and you know Galen Wood with Picture Perfect Pools out here.
Picture Perfect Pools. Probably.
He was at the Western show.
Yeah.
But so Galen started his own business right around that time when I found Arizona Pool Techs, and I needed somebody to do like a really simple repair that I just didn't know how to do. And so I put it on Arizona Pool Techs, and he was like just hungry for work because he was doing repair only. And so he was like, he reached out to me. He's like, "Yeah, I'll do it for $100."
Nice.
I was like, okay. I don't even know if that's a good price, but okay. Because I don't know anything.
Yeah.
And so then I met him out there, and then started chatting with him a little bit. We became pretty good friends, and I used to pay him to come on my route with me and train me on my own pools,
Nice.
like chemistry, equipment. If somebody needed a repair or a pump went out or something, like I would essentially pay him way more than anybody else would, but he would teach
you.
He would teach me how to build the bid. He would teach me how to look at the system and figure out which pump it needed or which few pumps would work, and then build out those bids. And then I would send them to the clients, and the clients would pick one. And then he would go to distribution and buy the equipment on my account and come out and install it. And so like, usually he would make more money on a job than I would. But that was just, I was me paying my dues, right? Like I had to learn, gotta learn from some. Knowledge isn't free.
Yeah.
So we did that for a while. But while I was working for that other guy, I would save up all of the money I made from him, and then I would find other pool companies that needed to offload 2 to 15 or 20 accounts for one reason or other. They lost a tech, a truck went down, they want to tighten their route up, whatever it is. And I would buy pools that they couldn't service or didn't want to service anymore. And I would buy them for cheap, like $200, $300, $400 a pool.
Nice.
I was buying them from like in high-end zip codes in nice neighborhoods, but maybe they were serviced by a tech getting paid like $10 a stop, and he just didn't get paid enough to care about anything. And so I would go and ride the route with the seller, with the owner, and I would just kind of take mental notes like, okay, this pool needs a drain, this one needs a towel clean, this one's got like 7 different leaks. Like just looking at it, I'm just trying to find how can I make my money back as fast as possible. And so I would do that, and I bought in like August of 22 from 2 different guys. I bought a total of like 30 pools. So I went from I had 20 and I was doing like 80 for somebody else to now I have 50 and I'm doing like 40 for him. So I had 3 days for me and 2 days for him. And then a few months later, I bought like another 10 or 12 pools and dropped 1 day from him. Because every time I dropped a day from him, let's say I was doing 20 pools for him and I was making $15 a stop. I knew that if I did 10 pools for me, I could make the same amount of money as doing 20 for him.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my goal, was to 2022, keep your head down, learn as much as you possibly can, get as many reps in, servicing pools, doing filter cleans, draining pools as much as you can, and learn on someone else's pools. And if you mess up, it's not my problem, it's his problem.
Right.
And so January of 23, I started with 66 pools, and they were all mine, and that's all I did was my pools. I no longer worked for the other company.
How did that feel?
Felt great. It felt a little scary, but so I was like, okay, I'm set.
Mm-hmm.
66 pools. I don't need any more. I'm good. Well, 2-3 months later, now I'm bored.
What?
Oh man. I'm like, all right, so I got that dialed in.
Now what?
And so then I'm like, then I started getting referrals, like a lot more referrals than before, because I was learning, I was providing a better level of service.
And then obviously you got a lot more clients, so a bigger pipeline.
Yeah, a bigger pipeline of referrals. And so, I was naturally gaining like a handful a month. And so then I was getting too busy as you run into filter clean season. And one of my friends, Connor, who was my first, he's still with me, but he was my first pool tech, 1099 hire. He would work for me every once in a while, like when I had a long day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey dude, like, do you think you'd like to do this like full time? And he was like, yeah, I think so. Cause he was a teacher. And so he was making more working for me.
Oh
he
yeah,
was being a teacher. And
that's crazy. And he went to school for that and all that. That's crazy.
so when I brought him on full time, I think we were at about 75 pools, and he rode with me every day. So for 4 months, he rode me every day training. Whatever I was doing, he was doing with me. And we went from like 80 or 75, 80 up to like 120 that he and I were doing. And that was all through referrals.
Dang.
And so he and I were, it was two of us. And so we could bust out a pool in like 7 minutes because I'm like, all right, you go net and brush and do the skimmer baskets. I'm going to go back to the equipment, empty that basket, check everything out, come back, do the chemicals. And for most pools, we were done in under 10 minutes because there's two of us. So it's like we were there for 20.
Yeah.
And so we would bust out like 20, 25 pools a day.
Well, let me ask you what approach do you prefer? Him running a route or him riding with you?
I would love for it to get to a point where our rates would allow us to have like a senior and a junior tech in the same truck.
Dude,
Because
I feel the same way.
But you have to get to the point. Like, so the thing I've always not wanted to do is provide a dead end job. So you're going to have to figure out how you're going to manage that workload because your junior tech making, I don't know, $7 or $8 a pool, which might come out to $25 an hour. At some point, they're going to be like, I need more.
Yeah.
So I've never wanted to like be like, okay, I understand you need more, but I can't give you more because we don't have a whole nother route.
Right.
To you. So I don't really know the logistics of how that's actually going to work outside of just charging way more money. And
right.
But I do feel like the customer receives a way higher level of service when there's two guys there.
Dude, because I mean, think about it. We're not at 100% level every day, all the time, every pool.
But when you have one of your best friends with you,
dude,
you guys are out there joking and clowning and having a great time.
The day just flies by, and you're able to provide still the same quality of work because it's two of you.
I think a higher quality, and especially because like if a storm came through and just wrecked your whole route. I mean, best case scenario, you got 20 pools. You're at each one for a half hour. That's a 10-hour workday, not even including drive time.
Yeah.
And in the summer when it's 115 degrees outside, like you can't work that long day over day over day. Like if we do a 12-hour day on one day when it's 115 degrees, you know that next day you're going out, you're waking up late. You're at like 40%.
You're tired.
You're mentally and physically exhausted.
Yeah.
And so having that second guy there is great. Whether one of you is dealing with like a pump isn't priming, figuring out that issue when you're sweating, just dripping sweat in your eyes and you can't even see, you're ready to just light the whole pool on fire. Or a client comes out, wants to talk for 10 minutes, the pool's still getting cleaned that whole time.
Yeah.
And so I would
loved it, bro. I loved it. I loved it. I was I would do this thing when I first got started. First couple of years is I would have a ride along only in the summers. So they knew it was going to be a summer job. Yeah. It's a summer job. And oh man, you're right. It would make the day go by faster. It was a lot easier because it's two of you. And it's like, man, it's a well-oiled machine by the end of the summer. And then you got to let them go. Then it's just you.
So he and I did that June, July, August, September. For 4 months, he rode me every day. Then so we were at 120 pools. So I broke him up with 50 for him to start doing on his own. And I was doing 70. But that's when my second tech that I have now, David, like I said, I've known Connor since 7th grade, since we were like 12 or 13. And I've known David since 5th grade, we were like 10. And David grew up like 5 houses down from me. And he was doing concrete. And he was just working his bag off, just breaking his back every day doing concrete. And I was like, hey, bro, like, do you want to come work with me and Connor and do pools? And he's like, how much could you pay me? And I'm like, well, how much are you making right now? And he told me, and I was like, I could match or beat that. And it'll be easier work. You'll be done by noon. You'll be done by 1 or 2 latest. You know, it's not going to be as hard on your body.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, yeah, I'm down. So at that point, I bought another, because 70 pools, to me, the money didn't work for me to pay him and train him on 70 pools. So I went out and bought another 30. So now we were at 100. Because also Connor wasn't going to stay at 50. I had to have pools to move to him as he became more comfortable and efficient.
Right.
So I bought, like I said, I bought another 30. So then me and David started doing 100 and doing the same thing that me and Connor were doing every day. Hey, be at my house. And this started in October. So it was like, hey, be at my house at 6:30 or 7. Whereas in the summer with Connor, I was like, be at my house at 5 a.m.
At 5. Yeah.
Be at my house at 5 a.m. and I'll have the truck loaded up when you get here and we'll hit the road. Because at the time when I had Connor helping me, most of my pools were in Scottsdale. And you know, some of my pools were like a 45-minute drive from my house to get to the route. Once you got to the route, it was a tight route.
Okay.
But I had always kind of just had the mindset of, well, I'm going to get pools where the money is, where people can afford pool service. And so I was just focusing on Scottsdale and the higher end zip codes, Paradise Valley, parts of Mesa, parts of Gilbert. And I had a route out I bought a route in Gold Canyon. That was one of the ones, you don't know where Gold Canyon is, but it's east. Like Gold Canyon has 2 like super high end golf courses. And this was supposed to be like a super high end master plan community that they were building in like 05 to 06 to 07. And then what happened? The whole economy crashed. The housing crashed. So that was supposed to be like a playground for like wealthy 50-plus-year-olds that could buy a second home.
Did it become that?
Too sick. Right now, it's more of like a retirement area. But like I said,
money. 2
really, really good golf courses out there, and there's maybe like 10 or 12,000 people that live out there, and I would guess at least half are only there in the winter. They're snowbirds. So they need pool service. One, because they're typically elderly. They don't want to can't physically do their pool, and they're also not here to do their pool, and they're definitely not here in the summer. So snowbirds. I love it out there. Gold Canyon is one of my favorite areas, but yeah, I was always just focused on like, where are the people that need pool service? And so I was just growing in those areas, and now we've filled the gap a lot. Now the route looks way different, but
dude, that's awesome.
Sometimes we would have a 30 or 45-minute drive to get to the route, and then once you were at the route, you only drove like 6 miles during the route. But
that's interesting because most pool guys try to keep them close to home so they don't have to drive far. But that's actually pretty smart. If I had to
redo it, I probably would have done it a little different.
Yeah.
But like I said,
you're getting good clients though. That's where the money's at. That you don't have to worry about, hey, they're gonna pay late or they're behind on their payment, or if you need to do an installation, they don't question it. You get, if they have the money, they got you.
And the first ones I bought were out in Scottsdale. So when I bought my second route, I was like, I hate driving back out to Scottsdale 30 minutes from my house if I need one thing or have to go back to one pool. So that's when I bought those 30 pools in August. I bought one route was out in Gold Canyon by my house. It's like 15 minutes from my house. And then the other one was in Scottsdale, like a little bit north of the first route, so that I would have a reason to go back to that area.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of how that evolved. And then I found a guy selling pools in Paradise Valley, which is the highest zip code, the highest income zip code in Arizona. It's probably one of the highest in the nation. And he sold 10 pools for $6,000, so $600 a pop. And
damn, yeah. Wow.
Dude, now we have, I think, 18 pools, 17 or 18 pools in Paradise Valley, and those have all come from referrals. So we have 9 of the 10 that I purchased still today. One guy left because he didn't want to do a price increase, and I'm like, well, it is what it is. And then all of those grew from referrals out there. So like, it's funny. A lot of people are like, I don't even have a website. I don't have a Google listing page. I don't have anything. All I have is my Instagram. And I've always just grown through acquisition and through referrals.
But you send me a link that looked hella professional, bro, with all your information.
Oh, that's just a .business card.
Dude, I was like, that's legit. I got to get me one of those.
Well, like, yeah, when I revved up apparel, we put a QR code that takes you to the dot business card on my work shirts. And then and then you probably can't see it, but so it's the background on my screen. Like when my screen's dead and you just tap it, it's that. So when people ask me for a business card, I'm like, oh, just scan this real quick.
That's smart.
Because
props to you. That's smart.
When you get business cards, what do you do with them?
You toss them.
You put them somewhere.
Toss them. Yeah.
And you definitely don't sit down and manually put the name and number and email. In your
No.
phone. You don't do that. No one does that.
No.
And so I'm like, oh, here, scan this. And then I take their phone from them. I save the contact and then I shoot myself a text.
That's smart. I love it.
I'm like, technology. I got you now. Whether it's a rando on the street, somebody at a pool show, whatever. I'm like, now I have your contact information.
Yeah. That's really, really props to you on that one. Now tell me the story behind the name Pineapple Pool Boyz. It's catchy. It's catchy as hell. What's the meaning behind it?
So I don't even know if I could find it anymore, but me and my wife go to San Diego a lot for vacation. And
we do too. I think us desert people, just San Diego's a spot, bro.
Well, I don't do Mexico. I've had way too many friends have bad experiences in Mexico. So, San Diego's the next closest beach. So I'm like, I'm going to stay in the United States of America, which we can argue if California is even part of that at this point. But, but I'm like, I'm staying where I still have a constitution. That's just how I feel, so yeah, we go to San Diego a lot, but so there was you buy surf shop t-shirts and stuff like that. And so my wife bought one that had like a pineapple skull on it, but it was a little different. It didn't have the bottom jaw. It didn't have the sunglasses. It didn't have like the top, like leaves coming out of it, but it was a pineapple skull. And I was like, that is sick. Like that should be. So we bought that shirt before I even bought my first pool company, like before I bought the route. And I was racking my brain. I'm like, because the guy that I bought the 12 from, like I bought his business name and his email and his website, but I didn't want his name. It was something super generic. And I didn't know what kind of reputation he had.
Right.
So I just didn't want to assume all of that. I wanted to make it my own. So me and my wife were just sitting down one day and I was like, that shirt needs to be the logo. Like, and so my wife's an interior designer and she can use CAD and all this other stuff. So she started messing with it. She started changing it. I was like, give it a bottom jaw. I was like, maybe you need some sunglasses. Like, and so she was just messing with it. And I was like, I think that's it. I think you did it. And then, so I'm like, well, where do we put like the name? Cause it's a tall, skinny logo. So like I ran into some issues with like hats. Like this is the biggest I can make this logo on this hat.
Right.
It's tall and skinny. And so we put the name, down the side. Because we had it over the top, we had it underneath, and I'm like, I don't like that. So I was like, let's just tuck it in right there. And so then with the pool, the business got named around the logo. And I was like, well, Pineapple Pools. And at the time, I didn't know that there was a huge company out here at one point called Pineapple Pools.
Oh.
And they went so they were tied to a huge pest control company. And I didn't know any of this until after I had started doing pools, and people started asking me if I was affiliated with them. And I was like, no, I never even heard of them, because when I'm on that, when I'm on the state website, when you're like trying to figure out
business, nothing came up.
Pineapple Pools didn't come up because they were no longer in business. They folded because they went from like 300 to like 1,500 pools in like a year.
Yo.
And it just, the whole thing just burnt to the ground. Like it was just like, you can't do that. Like they couldn't figure out how to hire people.
It's too much.
They were burning clients, burning texts. There was disgusting churn like going on. So the guy that they brought in to run that, he had a clause in his contract, and he was like, I'm out. He's like, you guys blew this up way too fast. I can't manage it. I'm out. But yeah, so we have the three boys. And so I'm like, well, when they're old enough, I'm going to make them work for me, even if it's in the summers only. So I was like, Pineapple Pool Boyz. And at the time I had a very small mindset. My mindset was, I want 60 pools. I want to be done by 11 a.m. I want to come home. I want to mess around with the stock market a little bit. I want to just have freedom. But like I said, I got to 66 pools. I was doing it all myself. And after a few months, I was like, I can do this in 3.5 days.
Yeah.
because of the where geographically the routes are set up. Like, you're not going to spread out 5 days of work so you can go back to the same area you were at the day before to pick up 4 more pools and then go to a new area and start a new route. So you're just going to do them in clumps of where they are. And so it was like 3.5 days worth of work. And so that's when I was like, I need more pools. So I started actively asking for referrals. And this whole time I'm, building up my network of other pool guys and other business owners that are service-based, like they're on people's properties. They have recurring service, whether it's pest control, landscaping, window cleaners, pressure washers, roofers, hardscapers.
Service. Yeah.
People that are out there servicing people's properties. And I'm like, hey, if you guys have any referrals, like, let me know, I'll take care of them. Like, when roofers would do a roof, or like hardscapers would do something in the backyard, I'd be like, hey, send me out there. I'll vacuum the pool. I'll do a filter clean. Like, everything will be good. They don't have to pay their pool service company to do another service because, you've got a bunch of roof crap in their pool.
Right.
Because you got a bunch of dirt and dust in their pool. Like, I'll go out and I'll do it. And I never did that with the purpose of like snaking anybody's accounts, but sometimes I did make a good impression and they would switch over their service. And I've always made it a habit to never badmouth another company because, you walk into a backyard the first time and a client tells you everything wrong with their current company. And I'm like, there's usually some shared blame. There's usually a lack of communication somewhere where the expectations from the pool service provider and the homeowner, like, they're just not on the same page. And
right.
That's what's causing the rift. They're like, well, he doesn't do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, well, what's your current rate? And they're like, $110. And I'm like, including chemicals? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, that's why.
Yeah. So, you're like, well, he's doing he's doing his job.
I'm like, well, you realize he has to service like 30 pools a day just to not be poor, right? And how many hours are there in a day? Like, sometimes I just tell people, I'm like, it's business math. Like, if you want your pool guy in your backyard for a half an hour a week, you need to pay for 2 hours of labor. And whether they charge $85 or $100 or $120 or $150 an hour for labor, that's going to reflect in your rate. And honestly, if I have to be in your backyard for 30 minutes every single week, there's a problem. Like, something's going on. Like, you're not letting me run the system long enough. Your vacuum sucks. You need a landscaper. You need actually landscaping. Like, you can't just be like, oh yeah, I have a landscaper that comes by once a month to trim the trees. I'm like, yeah, but the whole month the trees are dropping.
Yeah.
And then the wind comes and I'm your landscaper just fishing your landscaping out of your pool.
Do you get any pools that have like empty lots or dirt around them and with the winds and all that? And it's like every time you go, you got to vacuum. Every time you go, it's like a mess.
Yeah, and over the years, I've weeded those ones out, unless they're willing to pay for the time it takes to get there.
Yeah,
and to do it, because I'm like, hey, and I found this out because just through trial and error, I'm like, I'd almost rather have a ton of like super super easy basic pools, than to get the complicated ones. But depending on where you're at in the valley, what the income level is, as soon as times get tough, if their pool is honestly extremely easy to take care of, like, they might get rid of you.
Yeah. The first people they let go are the gardeners and the pool guys.
Like the super easy ones and the super complicated ones.
Yeah, for sure.
For that reason. And then the other thing is, like, if all of your pools have one pump, minimal plumbing, no actuators, one light, no automation, one filter, there's only so much repair work you can actually do at that pool.
Yeah.
I love it when there's 6 or 7 pumps and 3 filters and 2 heaters and
they're like
16 lights, and like their automation's so big they have 2 boards.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, there's some money back here. But then you got to have a conversation with the client. Hey, all this is 20 years old. At some point, these things are going to start breaking. And are you ready to, spend potentially like $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 replacing this stuff? Or are we going to replace it as it breaks? But I always tell them, I'm like, especially with plumbing, like, sometimes I found it so much easier to take a video or actually walk back to the equipment with the client and show them. I'm like, this is why we have to replumb all of this to replace that. Because, like, there's been 17 repairs of all these couplers. Your water's going like this. And, that's why your pump died. That's why your pump died in early death, is because it's working so much harder than it has to. Because I didn't know this. I learned this a couple weeks ago. Did you know every 90 that you plumb in adds 10 feet of pipe?
I did not know that.
every 90 is like adding 10 foot of pipe.
Dang.
So you see
So
somebody
that's more. Yeah.
You're like, wow, that's like 90 feet.
That's like my early plumbing days.
You're like, man, why don't these pop-ups work? You got this freaking 3 horsepower pump ripping, the filter's clean.
It's just not. It's not. There's no
velocity hitting all these 90s.
Oh man, what were some of the biggest challenges early on, and how'd you get pushed? How'd you push through them?
Man, I've always said like actually going out and cleaning the pools is like the easy part.
Yeah.
I think so. My biggest thing was just the knowledge gap that I had. Like I didn't know much, and I knew I didn't know much, and so like I did like this has been going on for about a year now. But like I created my own like pool guy mastermind. I found guys that are way ahead of me, but they've all built their companies in way different ways, and I like to kind of. And I don't agree with 100% of the way anyone does anything, right? Nobody does.
Right.
So you just you got to expand your network, and you got to ask guys that have been doing it for 15, 20, 30 years, like what works for you? Why does that work for you? I'll call them, hey, I'm running into this situation with this pool or with this client or with whatever, this rep, like what do I do here? So like every month there's like between 6 and 10 pool company owners that meet up. We do a happy hour, and I invite a rep out. So, we've had like Hayward, J&D, Pentair, Aquastar. We've had a rep from Blake Sales come out. We've had builders come out. We've had distributors come out.
It's not IPSA?
No, I made my own, dude.
You made your own?
I'm not in IPSA. I've been thinking about joining it just because their insurance is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Their liability insurance, and I like the idea of the sick route coverage, but I've talked to some guys that have used it, and they're like, dude, like all they did was just keep it from going green, like
yeah.
But I'm like, well, that's kind of what it's for, right? They're not there.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, if you're part of if you're part of it, and now you're cleaning 20 pools a day, 15 pools a day, and somebody needs help, now you're taking on their pools as well. So
so like they all kind of divide and conquer. Like one guy will be like, I'll take 4, I'll take 5. And so, but it's more or less just to help you not lose your business if you get sick,
right?
Which is good. But at this point, I've built up enough contacts with other pool company owners where
you made your own.
Happened, I could figure that out. I'd be like, hey, does your tech work like an extra half day? Like, I need to cover 40 pools this week, And again, you're not going to be able to control exactly how or what they do when they're there, but you're just trying to keep it from going green. But the biggest challenge was really just like the learning how to run a business part. And so last year in 2024, I think I spent about 15 grand on different business coaches and different conferences and just education, both in business and in pools. And so that's paid dividends. Like we're bigger right now than we were last year, but not by much, maybe by like 20 or 30 pools, but we're probably on pace to beat last year's revenue by about 200K.
Nice.
Because I've just been focused on like providing a higher end service, not so much just providing more service. I also have trust issues where I don't want to just hire like an 18-year-old or a 20-year-old, and I don't want to hire a 1099 pool tech that all he does is jump companies.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm at the point where if I'm going to bring someone on, I have to go get more pools, and so I don't want to go get more pools and then have that person dip out in 6 months.
Yeah.
Now I'm doing the pools. And I already don't have time to do all of the office work, all the admin work, so all the support for my guys and run service calls. Like I don't have time to do 60 pools on top of that.
Right.
Because I also have 3 kids and a wife and family. And she runs her own business. And so it's like I can't work 80 hours a week right now. I just can't do it.
Now you mentioned 1099 employees 2 times. You guys are still able to do 1099 employees?
Yeah, we're not California.
Dude, we can't out here no more.
Well, that's why I don't even understand how you guys survive without like VC money, or some sort of investor. Like, I can't imagine having to train someone that doesn't know anything and paying them like $25 an hour, and then also giving them retirement benefits and like possibly medical benefits and PTO. I'm like, how? because then you've got, you're paying the payroll tax, you're paying all the other stuff on top when it comes to a W-2 employee. I'm just like, that 25 an hour is like 40 an hour.
Yeah.
For the business
It,
owner.
it gets
I'm
expensive.
I'm like, I don't even know how they do it. And especially in some parts of California, like those guys charge less than we do out here for pool service. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't understand how the math is working. And,
What's the average pool rate out there?
oh, that's all over the place.
Average.
I mean, let's just say for a 10,000 gallon play pool that doesn't have much debris, probably anywhere the average you would find would probably be anywhere from like 120 chems included to 150 plus chems. So like,
okay, and that's once a week.
Yeah, but that could be. I mean, 150 plus chems is way different than 120 including chems.
Right. Yeah.
Because 150 plus could be in the summer 180 to 200.
Yeah.
And in the winter, 160.
Right.
But the difference being that guy at 120 chems included,
he's losing money.
Can he afford to give your pool what it needs? And if he does do it, does he make any money? And both of those answers are probably not.
Yeah, unless he's already done the math of saying, okay, this is how much approximately I'm gonna be spending on chemicals on this specific pool, and he adds it on to his monthly rate, then he'd be okay. There's some pools out here. I do service plus chems. I do plus chems because me and my wife
so many
said
variables you can't control.
Yeah,
are they turning their pump off? Does their dog swim?
Yeah.
Is their filter dirty and they won't pay you to clean it? Do they refuse to run their pump for longer than 8 hours a day? Will they not run it during peak electricity time? So the pool is just sitting stagnant at the hottest part of the day for like 5 straight hours, and they're using it at that time while it's like, pond versus stream. Ponds are gross, streams are clean.
Yeah.
So then you get algae growing because you're creating an environment that allows the UV ray to just destroy your chlorine while you're also using it, and it's stagnant.
I agree. I completely agree. The thing is that right here, like in the Coachella Valley, they're so used to because twice a week with chemicals.
Tabs used to be 25 cents a tab, bro.
Yeah, no, I know. I know. And so they're used to it. So when you're like, okay, it's going to be this much and it's once a week, they're like, wait, once a week? My guy's doing it for 130 twice a week.
I literally break down the math for them when they say stuff like that. And I'm like, he should just quit his job. He should close his company and go work at McDonald's because he would make more money with less of a headache. And they're like, oh, wow, I never realized that. I'm like, the guy coming out to clean your pool, you're paying him up so he has to be on food stamps.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a business owner. I'm not going on food stamps, and neither are my techs. And if you want a guy that's literally poor, he can barely afford to put gas in his truck to get to your house to provide a service for you, I'm not your guy.
So they don't give you a hard time because every month their monthly payment isn't the same every month.
Neither is their electric bill.
That's true.
Neither is the amount of gas you put in your car. Like, you use it more.
I didn't think about it like that. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think about it like that. Of course
it's going to cost more in the summer when you're using it or when it's 110 for 3 months in a row.
And it's going to be a lot less in the winter.
Yeah, it's going to be way less in the winter. And if I always tell people this too, when they question that, the plus chems part, they've never heard of it. Their last company didn't do it. They don't like the idea of an unknown number.
Yes.
Going to come to them. I'll sell you a bucket of tabs for like $80 less than you can go buy it at Leslie's for. So at least that way, the tab portion you paid for it once, and now you have tabs for over a year. So now
you keep them right there at the house,
and we leave it at the pool equipment. So now you're paying for acid, liquid, shock, specialty chems. If we need it, soda ash or bicarb. And I tell people, I charge for every single chemical I put in your pool. I charge less than retail. Yes, I make money on it, but no, I'm not gouging you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm covering the cost of it. If I go out and buy $10,000 worth of tabs, because I buy them by the pallet so that I can get a break on it, so that I can save $10 or $15 a bucket, because I know I'm going to use them all summer. I can't, I'm not a huge business. I can't just go and buy 10 G's worth of a chemical and have it sit there.
Right.
So if people will buy buckets, I'm like, I can just pass along my discount to you. Like if they pay per tab, we charge $275 a tab. Now, if they go to Leslie's and buy a 50-pound bucket, it's $280 plus tax.
Yeah, it's about 3.
So you have to go do it. You have to go get it. You have to buy it. You have to bring it back. You have to put it there, or you can just let me do it for less money. Because I'll sell them a bucket for $225. So I make some money on the bucket, but again, I had to go fork over thousands of dollars to go buy these pallets of buckets.
But that's not really where you're getting your money from. Is the chemicals?
But if you can go from Chem Included to Plus Chem, so like the first 12 pools I bought were Chem Included. Within 4 months, I realized that this is not going to work.
How'd you switch them? How'd you get them to understand that?
I literally showed them invoices. I was like, when the last guy, the guy that bought those 12 pools from, he raised their rate twice in 2021 because chemical prices kept going like this.
Right.
And so when I bought them, the play pools are at 120 Chem Included, and the divers were at 125 Chem Included. And I think by like April the next year, so 6 months later, I was like,
what's divers? What's play? I've never heard that before.
A play pool is no deep end.
Gotcha.
Dive
okay.
pool is a deep end pool.
Gotcha.
And so there's only a $5 difference between the two. And I quickly realized that this math isn't going to work. And so again, it was 12 people. So I called all 12 people and I said, hey, I've been doing your pool for 6 months. I appreciate your business. I hope you've been happy with my service. I know that you got your rate raised twice last year. And the last thing I want to do is raise your rate again. So, and I literally showed them invoices. I'm like, this is what a bucket of tab costs when he raised your rate to here. And this is what it costs now. This is what shock used to cost. This is what it costs. This is what acid used to cost. This is what it costs. I'm like, and we don't know what they're going to cost in another 6 months. We don't know. I can only assume.
The price you're showing is retail price, or you're showing the wholesale price?
I showed them the wholesale price.
Okay.
And I said, I think a fair compromise so that I'm not losing money would be that I sell you a bucket of tabs and I continue to eat the increase on everything else. And all of them said, okay, that's fair. And then the next year, in lieu of a price increase, I would no longer include shock. So now your pool is plus chlorine. And then the next year, I would no longer include anything. So now you're at your same rate you've been at for 3 years, but now I just charge for everything that's going into the pool in lieu of a rate raise. And I would educate them. I'm like, every pool is not the same. Like even your fill water is high pH and yours is more neutral. You need more acid just because of the water coming into your pool. And that's coming out of my pocket. I always tell people, if I could walk into a backyard, look at a pool, and tell you exactly the chemical charge, the chemical cost, I would be worth $100 million because every pool company in the nation would come have me look at their pools.
Right. Yeah.
It's a guess. At the end of the day,
yeah, it's a guesstimate. And
if you guess wrong, the company loses money and the company goes out of business. And if they guess really right, the customer gets ripped off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And so I just told people, I'm like, I'm tired of the little old lady that doesn't even look at her pool, let alone go in it, subsidizing the family of 5 that uses it every day. And I think when you put it in that way, people understand it a little bit more. Because I'm like, is it fair for me to guess and make a killing on you or lose money on you? Or is it fair for me to charge you for our cost of doing business and then charge you for whatever goes into your pool? And I think that comes down to just communication and client education. And you came from a bank. I'm sure communication is one of your strong suits with your clients.
Yeah. They teach you a lot.
I think I've had just about every pool client I have at some point in one way or another tell us that the communication we provide is better than they've ever had from any pool service company.
Yeah.
The transparency and, hey,
and answering the calls and answering
the email, answering the text.
Yeah. They're like, dude, like I thanks for calling so quick. Thanks for emailing me back so quick. And it's like it's like you said, it's in banking. They train you. You have to respond right away, and you got to be able to explain things to the client. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense.
So I think that's always been my strong suit. What I lacked in actual knowledge about pools or chemistry or equipment was made up for by my willingness to go find those answers. Even if it meant I wasn't going to make any money on that job, but now I know it for the next time. chalk it up to a learning experience. Like I said, knowledge isn't free. You pay for it one way or another, whether it's time or money. And paying for it with money is usually faster than learning it over time.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question. How do you keep track of how much chemicals you're putting in a pool? Do you use any kind of software like Skimmer or anything like that to keep track, or how do you do it?
Yeah, we've used a couple over the years. I'm actually in the middle of changing again right now because the one I'm at just not cutting it for what I want, for what I need. So I was just talking to Nikki from Skimmer on Instagram before we got on here. So I'm getting a demo with Skimmer. I'm going to get a demo with Pool Brain. But I've always used a CRM to track the chemicals, or to answer your question.
Okay. So throughout the month, as they're adding chemicals, you're using that software to keep track of what you're adding. And then at the end of the month, well, you're charging obviously the first of the month. First of all, do you charge the first of the month?
So
I charge the first of the month.
August 1st, they'll get their invoice for August, the month of August, and July's chemicals. So the chemicals are a month in arrears because we don't know what we're going to put in there until we test the water and put it in.
So they're paying for that month, and they're paying for the chemicals from the previous month.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then obviously the next month is the same thing, and the same, so on and so on.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I got to look into that because
do you send two invoices? Do you send a chemical one and a service one?
What was that?
Do you send like two invoices? Do you send a chemical one and then like a separate one?
No, I send one invoice. What I do, because I'm currently service plus chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
So I send one invoice at every first of the month, and I have them on auto pay. So it's kind of like it goes out and it gets paid.
But you got to be charging for the previous month's chemicals, right?
So I charge for that month. So the price I'm charging is for that month, for the chemicals for that month.
How do you know the chemicals you're going to put in?
I don't.
You just guess like $20 this month?
I don't. Yeah. So, I kind of, what I did was like, all right, if I'm spending, I roughly spend, I was spending about a gallon a visit of chlorine on each pool, and about half a gallon of acid, maybe every other week. And out here, you get a lot of twice a week services. So I've been little by little moving to once a week on all my clients. And I've had a lot of good conversations with Bob. He's from Arizona as well. He's pushing me to do service plus chemicals. So we've been having those conversations. So I'm little by little going that way, but I usually I'll charge based on my experience on how much chemicals I usually add to a pool. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it is a guessing game, and it is okay. In the summer, I might be a little bit short, and in the winter, I might make up for it. You know what I mean? Because I'm not adding those chemicals.
Yeah, that's what every chem included guy says. They're like, "Oh yeah, I make it all back up in the winter when you barely put anything in there." And I'm like, so you break even or lose money all summer, and then you make money in the winter. What happens if the client drops you in November?
Then that's it.
And they're like, well, that doesn't really happen very much. And I'm like,
yeah, no. It happens. It
does happen. It might not happen to 50% of your clients.
No, but it happens.
But it does happen.
Being real, it happens.
You basically just clean their pool for the hardest part of the year for free or for very little money.
Yeah. So what I do, like I said,
drive-through window.
I based my rate on summer. So in the summer, like I said, I was adding about a gallon a visit of chlorine. I was adding about half a gallon of acid every 2 weeks. I was adding conditioner. What? Like not that much.
Oh, we never add conditioner because we have so much tabs.
Yeah, you're set. You're good. So your alkalinity, all that,
you can get away with very little tabs because you're there twice a week to pour liquid in.
Yeah. But what happens with the liquid is it gets expensive, especially if you're not using the tabs. For a minute there, I stopped using the tabs because I was going to a lot of the classes on tabs. You're not just affecting your chlorine, you're also affecting your pH. You're also affecting your CYA and all that stuff. So I'm like, man, I wanna fine tune it to if I'm only want to increase the chlorine, I'm only going to add liquid. Dude, it got expensive.
You should go on the Pool Nation podcast. They have an episode from 2024's Western show with Damian Ludwig, the owner of Foothills Pool Care, and then his office manager, Sarah. And so during the COVID tab shortage, he has a larger company. I think at the time they were like at like 600, but I think they're pushing 800 pools right now. He had some inside knowledge from distribution, and they made the choice to call or email all of their clients and give them 3 options. You find your own tabs, you convert to a salt system, or you rent a liquid chlorine feeding system from us. And those are your 3 options, or you can find a new company. And they lost a few, like maybe a couple dozen out of like 600 pools. So, but now at this point, they're profiting. And this was their numbers from a year and a half ago. A year and a half ago, they were profiting about $75,000 a year just on liquid chlorine pump rentals.
Wow.
And so today, when they sign up a new client, you can buy your own tabs, you can convert to salt, you can put on a liquid system.
Yeah. See, another thing I was going to thank you for mentioning that, because another thing that I was going to mention, like 85% of my clients are salt sales.
That's great.
So
that helps a little bit with like the chemical guessing game, as long as they work. And as long as they're going to let you run the pump long enough for it to create.
Trust me, I'm on top of like my salt cell cleanings, my filter cleanings. I'm keeping them, making sure they're working, because I know the moment that thing stops working, I'm going to start losing money. So I'm like, okay, salt cells. I'm big. I push salt cells like crazy. So I think that's why I've fallen comfortable at pricing with chemicals, because I'm like, okay, it's got a salt cell. I'm not going to be dumping a bunch of chlorine and stuff.
You know, it really sucks. It really sucks how expensive it is to get off tabs, like that upfront cost.
Yeah.
Like even just a liquid chlorine pump. So like, and so Foothills Pool Care, he's one of the guys. He was one of the first ones I reached out to when I created my own little mastermind where we meet once a month, because I'm like, this dude knows everything. He's a Jandy warranty station. He's a Raypack warranty station. He's a Hayward warranty station.
Dang.
They do their own tile cleans. They do their own leak detection. They tried remodels, and he was like, screw that. I'm not doing that ever again. They LSI balance every service. They have a full-time filter cleaner that literally does nothing but every day goes out and cleans filters. They clean all their filters every 3 months. And he's got this thing dialed in. I'm like, I need to learn from this guy. And when he told me about that, when he's like, and so like I had him come out and do a huge job for one of my clients, one of my really high-end clients in a super expensive neighborhood. This guy basically had a freaking water park. There were 5 filters, 8 single-speed pumps, a pool, a negative edge trough, a spa, and then in the front, a gigantic fountain with a rain curtain. And everything was old. He bought this house, and he was a client of mine. He went from one house in the neighborhood to a different house in the neighborhood. And he sent me the inspection report, and he's like, hey, how much for the stuff on the inspection report? And I was like, just doing what's on the inspection report without improving anything, like, you're probably looking at like 20 G's. And so he took that and bought the house. And when I went out there, I was like, holy shit, this is not 20 G's. I was like, honestly, I don't even have enough business credit to buy everything that you need, let alone the time to install it. So I gave the job to Damien from Foothills. I called him. I said, hey, I need you to come out and meet with me and my client and talk to him about what he wants to do. And then, like, this is your job. Like, build the bid. I'm not involved. You don't got to run anything through me. At this point, it's you two.
Just a warm handoff. And
I think the first estimate was like 80 grand, and the client almost shit his pants. And then it ended up being around 60. What they did was around 60, but they replaced 5 of the, I think I said 8 pumps. It was 7 pumps. They replaced 5 of the 7 single speeds with variable speeds. They put on 2 new filters. They replaced every light in the pool, spa, and fountain. They replumbed everything. They put in 2 new heaters. And he didn't want to go salt for one reason or another. So they put on liquid chlorine feeding system.
On that big of a pool? Oh, man, salt would have been beautiful.
And so we told him, well, see, this was the thing. The upfront cost for salt was way more than a couple Stenner pumps and tanks and tubes to run a liquid system, not based off of it's measuring anything. It's just you're timing it and you're adjusting the time throughout the year.
Right.
So they're 15 gallon a day pumps. If the pump runs for 24 hours, it'll dose 15 gallons of whatever's in the tank. So it comes out to about 1.3 ounces a minute. So then you just got to do the figure out, like, okay, how do I need to put in a quart a day? Is 10 ounces a day good? Do I need to put in 30 something ounces or 60 ounces a day? Like, that's going to fluctuate through time of year and how much they're using the pool and how hot it is and all that kind of stuff.
But that's a lot of money on chlorine.
Well, so that was the thing, is he started spending like $200 a month on chlorine.
It's a lot of money.
He wasn't happy about that. And I was like, well, I'm not going to say his name, but we told you that. We told you that you can either pay for the system that creates chlorine.
And yeah, it's going to be a big hit up front, but at the long end, it's worth it.
You can pay for the chlorine every month. And so it is, it just kind of is what it is. Like, and the other thing is that Foothills will not install a heater if your pool's on taps. They won't do it. Because the cyanuric is going to eventually mess with your alkalinity.
Yeah.
And if your pool service company isn't LSI balancing, your heater is going to get destroyed.
And all that metal's going to end up in the pool.
And the warranty claim is going to get denied because you burnt out your heat exchanger because of bad chemistry, because the client didn't. So one of two things happened. Either the pool tech and the company doesn't understand LSI balancing, or the homeowner doesn't care enough to understand what you're saying. And they're like, no, just put taps in. But he flat out, he's like, no, I won't replace your 2 broken heaters. I won't do it unless you get off taps. And so that's why he went to the liquid system, was because he didn't want to pay for the salt system.
Yeah, no, I push salt systems like crazy. My pools are what, 10,000 gallons.
What's your favorite salt system right
12.
now?
Pentair's, most of my pool equipment are Pentair's. I have Hayward and Jandy. Jandy's starting to come up a lot more, and I like Jandy's salt cell. I like Pentair's. They're reliable.
I think the Pentair salt cell is about the only thing they have I like.
Hayward has the really cool what is that, the C3?
The S3.
S3?
C3
and dude, that thing is legit.
Mm-hmm.
But that thing gets dirty so fast.
I have that on my pool.
Yeah.
I have a whole Hayward pad on my pool. I ripped out an old 20-year-old Pentair pad.
You don't like Pentair? Not that you don't like Pentair, but you've had issues with Pentair more?
Warranty process with Pentair.
Okay.
With Hayward and Jandy, I can go find my warranty station that I want to use and go through them. I don't have to go through Jandy or Hayward. I can go through the warranty station that I want to use because I know and I trust the person going to the backyard. If they go back there and they tell me, hey, this isn't a warranty issue, we have to deny the claim, I trust what they're saying because I personally know and trust them.
Okay.
With Pentair, you submit a warranty to their portal thing, and then they break up their warranty stations, who's actually going to go do the warranty by like city or zip code. And when you're in an area like Paradise Valley and Scottsdale where it's mostly custom pools and most builders put on Pentair, right? And so
out here it's like 90% Pentair. Then it's Jandy and
you run into a
far
situation
between Hayward.
your pump stops working, your heater stops working, your automation's not working, or whatever, and I submit a warranty claim, and the companies that are in those couple areas, dude, like they'll close a work order saying they couldn't gain access when I have the gate code on the work order. I have my name and phone number on the work order. I have the customer's name and phone number.
Oh, but that's not Pentair. That's the people going out to do the
people they send
work.
out.
Yeah, that's
It's
the
never
people they're
Pentair,
sending
it's
out.
never Hayward. It's never Jandy going out.
Yeah.
And so
I was talking about like the reps. The reps.
Oh, the reps? No, the reps are all good across the board.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm talking about the warranty side.
Yeah.
Because now I'm in a situation where I've got a client that spent $400,000 on a custom pool with all, and their pool equipment's 18 months old, and I can't get a warranty rep to come out and get in the gate. And they're closing the work order, and then my customer salt cell isn't working, and I'm charging them for chlorine, and they're getting mad at me because it takes 3 weeks to get them out there. And when they finally come out there, they say they can't access the property, and I'm going to start the whole thing all over again. It makes me look
Do
bad.
you handle the warranties, the warranty side, or do you let the client handle the warranty side with them?
So I used to do it where I would handle it no matter what. Now,
But then you're the one that's like you said right now in that situation. Then you're the face of it. So you're like, why isn't the guy here yet? Why are you spending so much money on chlorine? Why you're the why guy?
I didn't sell you this. I wouldn't have sold you this.
Yeah.
I have one.
I'd be like, call the warranty.
I have one.
Call warranty.
I have one at Paradise Valley. It's a I don't know an $8 million property with a 50,000 gallon pool with a negative edge spa, and it's a salt system, and they sold them an IC40. Well, it's a 50,000 gallon pool. You need an IC60. I wouldn't have sold you that.
It's not gonna produce enough chlorine.
And so now if I didn't sell it, if a builder sold it, and now the whole pool is still under warranty as well as the equipment, I tell the client to go through their builder.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is what happened. Here's a picture of your serial number. I don't know when it was installed. I don't know if you have an invoice. I don't have an invoice of when it was installed because I didn't do it. So you need to either contact Pentair, here's how you do that, or you need to contact your builder and have them process the warranty claim.
Yep.
Now, that's for new builds, right? So if I pick up a pool and they happen to have a pump that the last guy put in 18 months ago and the drive goes out, I'll handle that for them. But I just tell them, I'm like, especially with the new build stuff, like I had an i3 drive go out. I'm like, I didn't install this. I hate that pump. I would never sell you an i3. And I'm like, I would appreciate it if you guys went through your builder because they're the ones that made money selling you this. I didn't make any money selling this. So even if it only takes me an hour, that's an hour I spent on something that I'm not going to make $1 on. I never made $1 on. So
you didn't do the work. You didn't do nothing, and now you're the one that has to fix it.
Most people understand it when you break it down like that. I'm like, I would like you to use the person that made the money selling you this equipment. I would like them to do the warranty process. Now, if they refuse to, or that's becoming a mess, let me know and I'll step in. But it also it's going to depend. And this is what I kind of like about running your own business is like people ask you, like, what do you charge for a pump? What do you charge for a filter? What do you charge for this? I'm like, I don't know. I kind of look at the whole business relationship between me and that client. Do they pay on time? Do they complain? When I tell them they need to do it during their pool, do they say yes or do they fight me?
Oh, then you go above and beyond for them. Then you're like, I got you.
That person has a different price than the person that
I got you.
That their dog needs to be put away, that you're stepping dog shit every time you go in their backyard. Like that person has a different price.
That guy gets that guy gets the roll of the eyes. I roll my eyes at him. I'm like,
So like that's kind of the nice thing is where you can kind of take the whole relationship, whether it's 6 months or 3 years, you take that into account when you give them a price for something.
Now let me ask you a question. You asked me what was my favorite salt cell. Do you uniform the equipment? Like for example, if a salt cell goes out, do you recommend different salt cells, or do you go whatever is? If it's a Pentair full system, you go Pentair. Or if it's a Hayward system, you go Hayward or Jandy or whatnot.
Well, I feel like there's a lot of I call them Frankenstein pads. There's a lot of Frankenstein pads out there from COVID. Mostly because during COVID, you couldn't get anything Pentair for a while.
Yeah.
And that's when I came into pools, was like the height of COVID, like late 2021 into 2022. And so from day one, I had a bad taste in my mouth with Pentair because their products during COVID, quite frankly, were lacking some quality control. And I was seeing that on pools that I had just purchased or that I had just gotten and the pump is a year old and the drive goes out, or it's leaking because they don't use good seals, or like, so I got into a little debate with a guy that used to be a Pentair warranty station, and now he's not, but he's like a Pentair expert. If I have a Pentair question, I'll call him. But I'm like, he posted a video of a whole brand new Pentair pad, and I was like, oh man, it really sucks that half those pumps are going to leak and the cell is going to die within 2 years. And he was like, why do you say that? And I was like, well, because Pentair pumps always leak. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm like, how many shafts, what percentage of shaft seals you do are on Pentair pumps versus Hayward Jandy?
Yep.
Good question.
Jandy, I don't even know when. I don't even remember when the last time I replaced seals on a Jandy pump.
And
but
if you replace seals on a Hayward pump, it wasn't a newer Hayward pump. It was probably a freaking super. It was probably an old single speed. But so, like, everybody, I always tell people, like, nobody makes the best of everything.
No.
And it's just like cars. Like, hey, don't buy a Hayward pump from this year to this year because the drive's going to go out. Don't buy a Jandy pump from this year to this year because it has this issue. It's like cars. Like, oh, that transmission sucks. That engine sucks. That whatever. They go through. They right now, in my opinion, as far as pumps go, Jandy is top shit. They're the best when it comes to pumps right now. Their filters are a brick shit house. You can't break that thing. Dude.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
They got
what do you think about
drain plug that's never going to break?
Yeah.
They got that band clamp
that thing's a bulletproof.
Not going to break, dude. Now it's also the most expensive filter you can put on your pad.
Yeah.
But most filtration square footage, shit is not going to break.
Yeah.
I've never seen a Jandy filter crack. I've seen every other filter crack.
I've never seen a You're right. I've never seen a Jandy filter crack. Those things are thick.
Hayward gets the classic band clamp leak.
Yeah.
The Pentair
they'll get the hairline,
is going to break off,
hairline fractures,
or it's going to get a crack in it, or the drain plug is going to strip out. Everybody's got their pros and cons.
Have you been having issues with the Pentair filter drain plugs that you tighten them and they just crack, they just break? I'm like, what the heck?
So what we've honestly switched to doing in a lot of cases is
I just started putting lube, bro. Okay.
So we'll either take it off at the unions and flip it upside down and rinse it out and put it back on, or we'll use a shop vac.
Okay.
Because of that freaking drain plug. And sometimes, as you know, that drain plug is plumbed in a way with the plumbing where it's like you're playing Twister trying to get to it, first of all.
Yeah. And then it gets sand or debris within and it gets so hard that you got to get a knife and you're just scraping it. Mm-hmm. And then what you put it back in and it starts leaking, so you got to take it back out. Then you get some lube and you put lube, and then finally it holds in. Mm-hmm. But talking about filters, what do you think about Aquastar?
I've been putting in a lot of Aquastar filters.
What do you think?
I like them so far. I like them. Now, granted, I think the oldest one we have on a pad is maybe 8 months old. So, time to tell.
And the pumps, have you tried their pumps yet?
We've done a few of their pumps, yeah.
What do you think?
So I just learned this. I didn't know this, but if you hook it up to the automation thinks it's a Pentair pump. So
really?
Yeah, you can put. So far we've only put it in standalone situations, but you can put it on automation, and it thinks you program it like it's a Pentair pump. I didn't know that until very recently. One of my pool guy mentors in our group text said that, and I was like, "Oh, really?" And he's like, yeah, because he only does like crazy high end service. Like they detail the pool. They're there for an hour or more, and so he gets a lot of super high end new builds with all Pentair equipment. And so when those go out, because they go out, they have Pentair automation. So that's the thing with Pentair is I hate that their automation pigeonholes you into using their equipment. I hate it. So guess what? If it's an easy touch and the pump goes out, I am trying to get them to move over to an Aqualink one so that they can pick whatever pump they want, whatever heater they want, whatever light they want, whatever they want. You pick.
So you like the Frankenstein approach to pool equipment then?
I like Jandy's automation, and I love poolside tech because then you're not pigeonholed into using anyone's pumps, anyone's heaters, anyone's anything. You can use whatever you want. Because like I said, no one makes the best of everything. They don't. Jandy makes the best heater on the market right now. Maybe a Via, maybe the Via with the NITEC is in there. You know, Raypak's in there.
Raypak's in there for sure.
But I love the JXI with the VersaFlow. I love it. But you know, but they all come with different price tags too. Like a Master Tap doesn't cost what a Hayward costs, and doesn't cost what a Jandy costs, and doesn't cost what a Raypak costs. So it's like a lot of times
it just depends on the budget
with the client. Like, what's the budget? Like,
what's the budget
and what's the goal here?
He's like, man, I just want my pool to work, man.
Yeah,
I just want my pool to work.
Everything, and you have a Pentair, transformer for your Pentair salt cell. The cheapest thing we can do is just put in another Pentair salt cell.
You don't have to replumb. You don't have to nothing.
Yeah, I'm just like, what do we want to do here? And that's why I will literally bring them back to the equipment, and I'll show them. I'm like, okay, so that thing on the wall right there is what gives power to your salt cell, because your salt cell uses electrolysis to split salt molecules and create chlorine. And they're like, you lost me. And I'm like, all right. If we just do what you have right now, replace the salt cell, it's X amount of money. If we move over to something else, we have to buy a new transformer, and so it's going to be like twice the cost. And they're like, well, then. So
90% of the time they're going to tell you just put what's already on there.
Yeah,
because it's easier, it's cheaper,
I'm going to give them options, but especially if what's giving them trouble is their 13-year-old Easy Touch board. I'm like, hey, we can put in an IntelliCenter board, or we can we can use this as your sub panel and put in a poolside tech attendant, or we can rip out your board and put in the Jandy conversion, and now you have a Jandy automation. And now when your pump goes out, you can pick whatever pump you want. And now when your heater goes out, you can pick whatever heater you want. And so that's
just more open to it.
Approach. Yeah, well, it's just like, I'm just like, especially when you're looking at a pad with like 6 pumps on it, I'm just like, talking to the client, like, let's think long term. What's the most efficient way for you to spend money? Not what's the best way for me to make a shit ton of money, because I'm going to make money either way.
Right.
But what's the best thing for you long term? Like, you've got X amount of pumps here, and quite frankly, Pentair pumps are the most expensive on the market. And then I also have the warranty station issues, and then they will leak within 2 years. I promise you. And also, when that shaft seal leaks, it's not covered under warranty. It's not a warranty.
But it's your chemistry. That's the reason why they leak.
Well, I've seen plenty of pools with Hayward and Jandy pumps with bad chemistry, and those pumps don't leak.
Yeah.
The 3-way valve might leak. The heat exchanger might be toast. Like, I'm not going to argue that the chemistry's bad.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the pump's not leaking if it's a Jandy or a Hayward. Not from the shaft seal.
All right, Zach, if you could give advice to someone just starting in the pool biz, what would it be?
Go work for someone else for 6 months to a year. Get those reps in. Be hungry.
Put in the work.
Be hungry to learn. Embrace the suck. The summer's going to suck. It's going to suck.
Learn to love it. That's my thing. When I get off the truck and it's 115, and as soon as I step out, I'm a big boy. I'm already sweating, bro, and it's already in my eyes. I stand there and I just soak it in. I'm like, learn to love it.
So when I was riding with Connor in the summer that year, I was training him. We'd be in the truck, we're going to our 22nd stop of the day. We're sweating our balls off. We've already jumped in like 6 pools. That's the other thing. We jump in pools in the summer.
I jump in pools.
I'm like, hey,
I
can either be dead from a heat stroke in your living area because it's 180 degrees over there, or I can jump in your pool and keep going.
Cool off and then get off. I'm not going to be in there doing
swimming,
some strokes.
But I'm getting in there. I'm going to jump in the deep end, get back out, service the pool.
Yeah. I usually do it the third pool before I finish because I want to dry up before I get home.
We used to do me and Connor, we'd be in the truck getting ready to get out to do like one of our last stops. It's hot. It's been a long day. I'm like, all right, Connor, excuse my language. I'm like, we're gonna go fuck this pool up.
Hell
I'm like, we're
yeah.
gonna go brush the shit out of this thing. We're gonna net it real good.
Hell yeah.
I'm like, but
That-
I told Connor and I told my other tech this too. I'm like, it's the pool is like your patient and you're like a doctor. Like each one's different. You gotta learn each one. They're kind of like a snowflake. You know, this one gets a pile of shit over in this corner. This one needs this. This one needs this. Like these are your pools now. You're the doctor. They're the patient. You have to take care of them. Otherwise,
I like that.
otherwise they're gonna leave you. Like the client's gonna fire you. The pool's dead now. The pool's dead to us. You lost the patient.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, you gotta treat it like that. You gotta learn your pool. This one always has a high pH because they like to run their water feature. Like, I'll add a little bit of extra acid. And,
Or this one has a dog, and every time it's always in the pool.
Yeah.
Or
you gotta make sure
Dude,
you
I
do
would have
not
a
forget
pool.
to empty. On this one, it's high debris. Yes, you're gonna empty the pump basket, but you're also gonna check the impeller.
Yes, man, I would have a pool. I have a pool up in Palm Desert, and he has a big Rottweiler, and that Rottweiler, oh, it's summer, bro. He's got a little shallow end. He's always in the pool. Literally always in the pool. I got so much hair. I already know, like the impeller's gonna be full of hair. The baskets are gonna be full of hair. Like I already know, it's like as soon as I go in, I'm already loading up a gallon of chlorine because I already know that dog's killing it, you know?
Well, that's the other
You
thing
learn
is
your
like,
pools.
when you use a CRM and you use an app, I always tell my guys, I'm like, hey, efficiency is everything. I'm like, pull up the stop on your phone while you're in your air conditioned truck. Look at what the chems were last week. Look at what you added last week. Think about what the temperatures were. Was last week 4th of July? Did they maybe have a pool party? Bring your shock with you.
Just bring
your
it.
tabs, bring your acid, bring your shock with you. Bring your jug of enzymes with you so that you don't have to come back out to the truck and then go back because, and this is more for my tech Connor than my tech David, but Connor does a lot of really big properties, like over an acre properties. And
Damn.
so just walking back to
That's a walk.
it might take you 2 minutes to walk back to your truck. So you walk back to your truck, you spend a minute grabbing what you need, you walk back, there's 5 minutes. Oh, it's only 5 minutes. What if you have to do that 20 times a day?
Bro, me and my wife were just having that conversation this morning about how it goes down to efficiency. It's like just take everything you need. That way you don't have to make those little trips.
Make sure you have a flathead and a Phillips head screwdriver in your caddy. Make sure you've got a pair of pliers. Make sure you've got whatever you need. Make sure you've got it. And that way you can just cut down the trips back to the truck. Because like I said, like that kind of time wasting kills you. If you have a salt cell, test your chemicals before you go to the equipment so you know if you need to adjust the salt cell or not go back and forth. And that's why when I hear people talk about time spent in the backyard, and the homeowner's only real way to gauge on if you're doing your job or not is, does the pool look clean and how long are you there?
And most of the time they go off of how long you're there.
And I tell people,
the pool could be sparkling clean, bro.
Just because it took the last guy 20 minutes to do what we can do in 10 doesn't mean we're not doing it. It means he was probably working inefficiently.
Yeah.
Or he doesn't understand certain things.
I tell my clients, you pay me for a clean pool. You're not paying me for how long I'm here. When it's windy and I'm here 45 minutes to an hour, I'm not charging you more.
Oh, we do.
You know?
We do.
I don't because
if I see a yard, if I walk into a yard and I know it has, we call it a whammy. You walk back there, the pool is just destroyed. You're like, oh man, that's a whammy. I know that if the yard has whammy potential, I'll give them two prices. I'm like, you can either be at 180 plus chems, or you can be at 130 plus chems. But when we're here, we clean, regardless of what you choose, we clean the pool until it's clean.
Right.
Because what happens if we leave and the next day, and we only clean it 80% of the way or 75% of the way, and we're like, oh, the pool's going to finish the job. But then another storm hits. And now the baskets are full, and the client's not going to empty the baskets, and the problem compounds week over week over week. I'm like, no, we're just, instead of us cleaning the pool 50% because we're going to stay for 15 or 20 minutes and bounce to the next one, we're going to stay for 45 minutes. We're going to charge you like an extra $15 or maybe $20 to stay that extra time, because the alternative is, hey, your rate pays for X amount of time. We were here, now we're gone. If you want us to come out the next day or 2 days later, that's a service call.
Well, that's a service call.
Because we're not even in the area
but
anymore.
because like in the winter, when you're only there, the pool's clean, bro. Like there's no debris in the baskets. The pool's clean. All you're doing is checking chemicals, and you're out of there.
We have
because
winter.
it's
We have
clean,
winter
bro.
windstorms where the winter can be just as bad as the summer as far as debris goes.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of companies out here that will go every other week in the winter, from like November to the end of February for like 4 months. We call that winter, but they'll go every other week for like 4 or 5 months. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I've got some pools where you could do that because the chemicals hold and it's a low debris pool. But even if the chemicals are holding and you have a high debris pool, you can't go every 2 weeks.
Right.
And so I just haven't adopted that method.
No, like I said, I'm switching. I'm already almost all there to once a week visits. But I do that. I'm like, I tell them, you're paying me for the pool to look clean. So don't worry about if I'm here 5 minutes or if I'm here an hour. Your pool's going to be clean. When you come out here, that pool's going to be clean. So,
but see, so the reason that I adopted this strategy was that when I was a 1099 tech working for somebody else, and I got paid $15 no matter what the pool was.
yeah.
It could have been an 80,000 gallon with a lazy river, or a 10,000 gallon play pool with no debris in it. I'm getting $15. Mentally, as a human, as an employee, as a worker,
You're like, what the
hell would I do the other one? Why the hell would I ever stay 45 minutes? If I'm going to cut a corner.
But you see, but that's the reason why I focus on I try to get regular sized pools. Like I filter my pools. Like I have like what? I have like 3 big pools, and I do them because I know they're time consuming. So I'm like, I need my tech to be, let's go, next one. So I'll take the big ones. I'll take the dirty ones. I'll take the ones that I know, because I know the pools, my pools. Like I know which ones are always going to be dirty. So I take the trouble pools and I give them like, all right, handle.
Yeah, so my guys are like they don't get the same per pool no matter what the pool is. And that extra time, that doesn't go to me, that goes to them. Because, like I said, if the problem's going to compound week over week, then they're just going to spend even more time there the next week. Or the client's going to be unhappy because their pool's dirty. So,
or the tech's going to be unhappy because, like you said, it's gonna feel unfair. I'm
like, no, we're just going to stay. So that's why I said, like, you can be at 130 and you might get charged for extra time when it's needed, or you can be at 180 and you'll never get charged for extra time.
Right.
We'll be here because at the end of the day, like,
man, we'll camp out, man. We'll be here all day.
I've had pools where you're like, holy shit, we spent 3 hours in that backyard last month.
Yeah.
And so hourly, I lost money.
Yeah.
Because again, you don't know what it's going to be until you get there. And maybe the breaker got tripped. Wasn't ran for 5 days. Absolutely thrashed.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my fault?
Nah.
So you get my free labor because your breaker tripped and you never looked, you never noticed your pool wasn't on?
Oh, that's different. I'm talking about like
you don't have a landscaper, or your landscaper blew all the shit in the pool. I'm going to charge you extra money. You can go talk to him about it. Because we're going to take before pictures, and we're going to take after pictures. I'll even take a picture of my bucket that I had to bring from my truck to the backyard to fill.
Because of him.
Because I was going back and forth so much. I'm like, screw this, I'm going to bring the bucket with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel this is what we pulled out of your pool. Sometimes I'll take a video and just text it directly to the client. I'm like, hey, I appreciate you finally getting your trees done. But
check this out.
I can't leave it in here. I'm like,
this ain't a trash can, man.
I'm like, however much you paid him, I'm pretty sure that price was supposed to include taking this shit with him.
Yeah, it doesn't mean clean the floor and not the pool. If the debris falls in the pool, I tell like the gardeners, I'll tell them, I'm like, hey, bro, you made that mess, you clean it. Like, you don't see me getting the debris from the baskets and throwing it in the yard.
I'm like,
bro, you don't see me doing that. Like, come on, clean up after yourself.
That's where I'm like, I can't pay for your lack of landscaping or your bad landscaper. Like, that's not on me. That's on you. You own the property. I just clean your pool. And you can't sabotage us cleaning your pool because we have a route to do. We have other clients. You're not my only client. I want to provide you a great service.
they're back there like the pool's always clean. I'm going to dump a couple of leaves in there because the pool's always clean.
Just to mess with them. Like, I've had some clients where they're like, you guys are only here for like 7 minutes. And I'm like, dude, your pool, your yard is turf and pavers. There's not a tree in sight. I'm like, you come watch us. I'm like, we brush it every week. We net it every week. We do the baskets every week. We adjust your chemicals every week. And how much time do you want me back here? Like, you want me just twiddling my thumbs? Like, what do you want me to do?
Do you guys have a lot of hard water over there in Arizona?
Oh yeah.
So you deal with the calcium, the
Oh yeah.
buildup?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's bad. And a lot of times, honestly, if I kind of, you get to know the client a little bit, and you kind of get to learn their budget or how much maybe you don't even know their budget, but you learn how much they value their pool.
Yeah.
By whether they do or don't approve things. And so like, I'll have clients that ask me about a tile clean, and they're like, "Oh, can we just like spray something on it and rub it with a pumice stone?" I'm like, "Don't do that.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna make it way worse." So I'm like, "Just don't do that."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Hey, a professional tile clean from a good company that's not going to damage your tile, make it look all hazy, strip the sealant off of it, and clean up after themselves. You're looking at about $6 a linear foot. Go get my wheel and I'll walk their pool. I'm like, you're looking at about $600 to $700.
Yeah. That's about right. Yeah.
Is that worth it to you? Or would you rather put that money somewhere else? Like, you got staining on your surface. When we drain it, maybe we should do an acid wash over a tile clean. Because I'm like, the tile clean's cosmetic. And granted, if you never do a tile clean for like 18 years and then you finally do it, your tile's going to look like shit.
Yeah.
But you don't need to do a tile clean every 2 years.
It's going to look faded.
Yeah, you don't need to do a tile clean every 2 years, because then your tile's still going to look faded because you've been blasting out media every 2 years.
Yeah.
The same way that I don't think you should do an acid wash every 2 years either. And I don't know about you, but we drain pools every 2 years out here. And honestly, sometimes more.
I do. You know what a trick or tip that I picked up, and some people call it overkill, but this little tip that I picked up was like at the end of the year, I drain the pools halfway and I refill. So every year at the end of the year, halfway or a little bit close to halfway.
I've had that idea. And a lot of guys that have been in the industry a lot longer than me, and I don't think they have any scientific data to back this up. I think it's just their own experience. But they're like, old water makes the new water older faster. I don't really, that's just what a few of them have said to me, because they've tried that. They've tried the partial drains. And they're like, because the other thing is like your cyanuric acid
old
test.
Old water makes new water older?
Faster. So like basically, so it's
better to just start fresh, is what you're saying.
Start fresh. If you're going to drain it halfway, why not just drain it all the way? It's not costing you, like, it's not costing Pete the pool guy 1 second more of time.
Not really.
Than the half. So then it's up to the client. Because the other thing is, I'm not going to charge less for a half drain because it's still 3 trips.
It is.
I still got to set the pump. I still got to pack up the pump. I still got to start the pool up.
Right.
The only difference in water out here is cheap. So the only difference is whether the client wants to pay like $100 or $50 for their water.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's about $60 to fill up a pool.
It's super cheap.
Yeah.
And people think it's gonna cost like an arm and a leg, and I'm like, no, that's by far the cheapest part of all of this. And they're like, well, why do you charge $250 just to drain my pool? And I'm like, because it's 3 trips, and I'm putting a $250 pump in your pool with $200 worth of hose attached to it. And the pumps don't last forever, and the hoses get holes. And there's a lot of liability with draining pools.
So you charge $250. Well, I was gonna say that the liability, bro, because you're emptying it all the way out. So
and so we don't do that in the summer here. It was a situation I've never had, and I hope I never have it again. But we had an Airbnb where someone died in the pool last Friday.
Yo.
And so the property manager reached out to me, and he was like, "What do we do?" And I was like, let me call.
Wait, first of all, how did they die?
They don't know. So it was an Airbnb. 6 dudes checked in. And so I don't know what time of day this happened.
But they died in the pool?
Yeah. One of them.
Like they drowned?
They found him unconscious. So there's a camera that points at the pool, but it's not actually active. It's just kind of to discourage.
Because it's their Airbnb property. Most of the time, you can't even have one point in the backyard.
So they have it, but it's not active. But I think it's just kind of like a psychological deterrent for people to not do stupid shit in the pool.
Yeah.
So that we don't know what exactly happened, but basically they all came back drunk. I don't know if it was when they checked in. I don't know if they went out that night and came back. I don't know what time of day it was or what time of night it was. But basically one guy was like, hey, I'm ready to get in the pool. He went out by himself. And everyone else says they came out 15 minutes later and found him unconscious in the pool and pulled him out and called 911. The paramedics came out and they couldn't revive him. And he was, I guess, pronounced dead there. because my question to the property owner was like, well, did he drown and then he got pulled out and they tried CPR and he died out of the pool? Because when you die, you can lose control of your bowels,
Right.
and that kind
Maybe
of stuff.
maybe he slipped, hit his head, fell in the pool. Maybe you don't know.
Yeah,
But
so
the
that's what I don't
liability
know.
part,
And
like they're obviously they're trying to find out who to blame.
yeah, and so I think it was really late at night / really early in the morning, like 2-3 a.m. I wouldn't be surprised if he dove in and knocked himself out.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, it's like less than a year old PebbleTech surface, and right now it's unseasonably cool in Arizona. Like the high today is only going to be.
Don't curse it, bro. Don't curse it, bro.
I'm not
That's a
cursing it,
big
dude.
no-no. You know that's a big no-no.
Dude, I've been saying, like, I'm honestly scared that our summer is going to go into like Thanksgiving. Like, I'm scared because if we haven't hit the 115s,
But like,
sustained 115s. We've hit it, but then 3 weeks later it's 98.
I was gonna say last year was a little bit hotter, but the previous year was the same. It was like I was like, dude, summers came and went, and it didn't feel that bad.
So I was like, it's a 1-year-old PebbleTech surface. We're gonna drain it, do a chlorine bath, and immediately fill it back up. Like I'll drain it overnight. I'll be there at 5 a.m. as soon as the sun's cracking, and I'll be doing the chlorine bath. It'll be full that evening. Like it'll be empty for one whole day, like as it fills.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, or we can do a water recycle. So we did a water recycle. I told him, I was like, the water recycle is probably gonna be twice as much money than draining it and doing a chlorine bath. And so we did a water recycle and we changed out the filter cartridges and we nuked the pool after the water recycle. I think the chlorine was at like a 20. But because the water recycle, like when the water comes back into the pool, like you can literally drink it.
Water recycle. That's when they bring the
big ass
like
truck with the filter.
Yeah, with the holes and then what is it? The whole day is just going through.
Yes, but so this guy that I use out here, he's like next level. Like his system runs at like 400 psi. Like he recycled that pool in like 5 hours.
And does it have a water softener system within his system?
No, so his system doesn't pull out calcium. It's basically reverse.
That'd be cool.
It's reverse.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
But so I take that back. He'll take like the total dissolved solids from like 3,000 or 4,000 down to like 300.
Okay.
And sometimes he pulls out so much calcium that he has to add it back at startup.
Okay. So it does.
It does pull out the calcium, but like not all of it. But he didn't do it on this one, but I had him do it on a few of my pools where he'll do this thing called he calls it a no drain acid wash. So he'll turn the pool system off, and then he'll drop the alkalinity to 0, and he puts in another chemical that he told me the name of it once, but he doesn't like to reveal his proprietary trade secrets that he's developed. But he puts in another chemical that will literally start pulling the calcium off the walls and off the tile. Like you'll see.
So then he'll increase the water level over the calcium line.
Yeah.
And then just hit it.
And he nukes it and he brings the alk to 0. And
but
then
that doesn't affect the grout or the metal around the pool lights or none of that?
Not really, because he doesn't do it for very long. But so he'll put in like 2 different sump pumps with like pipe plumbed into them that have like holes. And so he'll circulate the water in there for like a day or 2. And he does a no drain acid wash. The surface just got acid washed without draining the pool. Then he'll bring the pH and alk back up, and then he'll run the recycle.
Have you tried it?
Yeah. No, it's like the most even acid wash you could ever ask for. Like you can't streak it. There's no streaks.
No, because it's all
no dark spots.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And then you're not affecting the pool chemical because the water's not getting filtered through it.
Yeah, you don't want to run that through your pool equipment for sure. So now you turn that off.
You'll get some leaks.
Yeah.
Hey, Zach, I know you got to get going. You got a birthday party to go to. But I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you coming here.
Yeah, you said this was going to be an hour. You can't talk to me for an hour. I will talk to you for
dude,
like 5 hours.
I loved it. I thought it was going to be an hour. We're going to 15 minutes away from hitting 2 hours. That's pretty cool.
We're like Joe Rogan over here.
Yeah.
No one's going to listen to that long. You're going to have to cut some shit out, but no, it was good. I'd love to come back. We can talk about different subjects, but Yeah, back to your question. I think one of the last questions you asked me, and what advice would I give somebody just starting out? Is
No,
like,
no, no. Hold on. I got to hit you with the last
oh, okay.
question. This is the last question. And I've been asking all my guests, and I want to make sure I ask you too. A piece of advice for everybody that's listening. Doesn't have to be pool related, but just something that you want to share to the listeners. What kind of advice would you
Well,
have for them?
I'm assuming most of these listeners are pool company owners or pool techs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
We have a couple strippers, stuff like that. It's
so I
nothing
think
big.
I'll speak to the newer pool company owner that maybe was a tech and now he owns his own company or he's starting from scratch. I would 100% pay money to get mentors to speed up your timeline of learning, whether that's on how to run a business, how to develop, standard operating procedures, SOPs within your company, whether that's pool chemistry related or whatever it is. I don't care if it's running the business. I don't care if it's personal development. You need a life coach to like figure out your goals, because like you're never going to reach a goal if you don't even know what your goal is, ever. And so one of my business coaches, he runs a roofing company out here. He went from $500,000 to $13 million in like 3 years. And he paid a lot of money to a lot of mentors to do that. So I would 100% say, invest in some sort of business coaching. But you need to do your homework. You need to make sure you're not giving your money to a charlatan. You need to make sure who you're giving your money to is actually done what they're going to teach you how to do. And then you also need to understand that just because you gave them $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000, it doesn't mean the work's over. That's the start. If you go to mastermind meetings and you go to networking events and you go to business coaching and you don't implement anything they say, you just burnt that money. You lit it on fire.
That's money in the trash.
Like, you have to implement, and you have to know where you're going and go there with a purpose. Because for the first 2 years, all I knew was I wanted more. That's all I knew. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know how to get there. And, like I said, with roughly about the same amount of accounts, after about a year of business coaching and learning more about business and how to run it and be a better employer to make my employees happy and stay with me and be loyal, and how to provide great customer service. And like, we just don't have turnover. Like, obviously you're going to have some people fall off, whether that's budget related or, your guy made a mistake one time and they're just like, nope, sorry, that's it. Like, that's going to happen. But you have to know where you're going and how you're going to get there. Because just blindly, I'm going to go clean pools. That's all I'm going to do. You're never going to grow. Like, you might grow account wise, but you're not going to grow personally. Your business isn't going to flourish. You might not be around in a couple of years, because it takes more than just going out and cleaning pools to actually build a company and not just build a high paying job. Like,
not that there's nothing wrong if that's what you want to do and just clean pools and that's it.
No, but know that that's where you want to go.
But just know that that's where you're going to be at. Yeah.
There. If you want to have a handful of techs, if you want to get to the point where you've replaced yourself in the field, like, so I want to replace myself, but not in the field. I want to replace myself in the office. I like being in the field.
Yeah.
I like going outside every day and being in my truck and solving problems and meeting people and linking up with my guys. Like, if I don't have anything to do, like literally nothing to do, that's a lie, because I always have office work to do, but I will procrastinate that until the end.
Just like all of us.
If I know that there was a storm or something, or one of my guys has a long day and I haven't seen those pools in a month or two, I'll just go show up and work half the route with him. And he doesn't know that I was coming that day. And he's like, oh shit, thanks for the help, man. Like, they get paid the same either way, but I might find a handful of repairs to sell that maybe they missed, or maybe they're too busy. Maybe they're overworked sometimes. Maybe the route got a little bit too big. And then that's when I'll realize it. I'm like, hey, like, I've noticed that I kind of dropped the ball on a couple of these pools. Like, I'm going to take 2 or 3 of them back. And you're going to do 16 or 17 now, until when I come and spot check those 16, 17, they're perfect. Then you can have them back. Then you can have the money back. Because at the end of the day, they want to, they want to make as much money as they possibly can. So they're going to work as long as they possibly can, do as many pools as they possibly can. That doesn't mean that they're doing all of the pools at 100%.
Yeah.
And we need to be doing all the pools at 100% if we're going to be charging the rates we charge. And, we can't have, I don't want to be the company that the customer is bad mouthing when they're getting quotes for new ones. Like, oh, there's algae here and you didn't empty the basket and it doesn't show up on time and it's a different day all the time. And like, honestly, we might 95% of the time your pool service day will be the same day of the week every week. But sometimes we got to roll stuff over. Sometimes you get somewhere and you're like, holy shit, this dog just destroyed this filter. I got to do a filter clean in the middle of my route. This filter's going to blow up. It's at 40 PSI. And that took you an hour and a half. And guess what? You're probably going to have to roll over like 4 or 5 pools to the next day.
Yeah.
But we have to tell the client we're doing that.
Communication.
But 100% pay for business coaching, pay for mentors, read books, listen to podcasts. Just you can't stop learning and growing. You can't. Where
can they find you, Zach?
Right now, they can only find me on Instagram at Pineapple Pool Boyz with a Z on the end. Like I said, no website. I don't have Facebook. I don't have TikTok. I don't have Google, anything. We've grown word of mouth and through acquisition only. And I would tell people, like, you don't need to have a polished website when you first start. You don't need to pay a social media manager $10K. Like, do you use a social media manager or is it all you?
It's all me.
It's all me too.
It's all me.
I might, if you see like a polished edited video, I send that to my buddy.
That's my wife.
No, I sent that to my buddy Dakota. His Instagram is at your media guy. So he'll come out and film stuff for me sometimes, but typically it's me filming stuff. And then I just send him all the clips and I'm like, hey, I need you to edit this and make it look like this and this and this. And that might be like a boosted post or a paid post. But like, as far as advertising, outside of our work shirts, a hat, I have a branded pole. I have my logos all over my pole. That's kind of cool, but no one really sees that outside of my current clients. But my Instagram being like raw and organic, I feel like it builds a different level of trust than when you go onto some of these pool company Instagrams and you're like, it looks like you hired models for a photo shoot. Like, those don't look like you guys. They look like they just showered and did their hair. And
you're like, bro.
They're not sweaty. They're not sweaty. There's a little bit of liquid and they've got like white laced up shoes on. I'm like,
you're like, really?
Right? Like, this looks fake to me, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that my Instagram has definitely earned me a lot of trust with people before they become my clients.
I agree.
I don't think it's a huge amount of people, but I probably have 15 to 20 clients that found us on Instagram and probably watched us for months.
But the power of Instagram is that you have it's not they don't go off of your word anymore.
They're watching
they're watching you. They know how you work. So when you show up to a pool, they're like, hey, Pete, what's going on? I'm like, I don't even know this guy, but because they watch the content, they know my work. So that's why they hired us, So it's a big help. It is a big help. It's way
more powerful than a Google listing or a website. Yeah. But if you're counting on getting leads because someone goes on Google Maps and searches pool service companies.
Yeah.
But quite frankly, we're not looking to add clients right now. Like, we're maxed.
Yeah.
We're maxed out. So if I go to bid a new one and I'm like, okay, I can sign this one at a great rate. This is going to be a great pool. Get a good feeling from this client. Like, I'm going to sign them at X rate. And then I'm going to go to my lowest paid or my lowest rate pool, or I'm going to go to my chronic late payer. And I'm either going to raise their rate or I'm going to drop them. But I'm probably going to raise their rate to a point where I hope they just drop themselves.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will be like, why won't you sell that account? And I'm like, I don't want to get the reputation of selling bad pools or bad clients. Like, I'll give that homeowner a few guys to call, and then I'll give those guys a heads up, like, hey, this person's going to call. This is what I was charging. This is what I wish I was charging. And these are the problems with the pool, or these are the problems with the client. Price it however you'd like. But I walked away from it. And they're like, okay, cool. Thanks for the heads up. But I don't want to sell that. I want to sell it to them for $500 or $300. And then 2 months later, they're like, fuck Zach. guy's a dick.
All he says to me is trash.
Can't believe he's saying this bullshit. But I'll send it to newer guys that are starting out. They're single poolers, and I'm like, hey, if you want another pool,
you want to learn? I got a pool for you.
Yeah.
Zach, thanks so much, man. I appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming on here, man. I have so many questions. I love picking your brain. I really like this conversation we had, and I hope to have you on in the future. So thank you so much, bro.
Well, yeah, for sure. Now I have the phone number, so now I'll give you a call when we're out in the field doing this bullshit all day. That's what I do. I don't know you, but I talk to pool guys all day.
Yeah, me too. But thanks for listening, everybody. Hope you guys have a good one, and we'll catch you on the next one. Órale.
All right, later.
Pool Foo Podcast. Let's vibe. Game so deep. Let's ride. From the valley to the masses, we know. Let it flow. Pool Foo Podcast. Let's vibe. Game so deep. Let's ride.